In this video, we will learn about the decorator design pattern and how to implement it using C++ code. Decorator is a structural pattern. It allows us to wrap existing objects in our code with additional functionality by creating wrapper classes that contain these new behaviors. For example, think about the use case of a notification system. If we have an app that sends out text messages to the user, we need to be mindful that some users may be on the latest devices, some may be on older devices, and others may even have flip phones. If we created a text notification system 15 years ago, it would have less functionality than text messages do today. For example, we may not have added emoji functionality, and only provided basic text message sending to the user. If we wanted to add emoji functionality, directly modifying the base class could be a heavy lift, and could break the experience for users not utilizing devices that include emoji support. We could solve this problem by using a decorator, essentially creating a wrapper class that contains a regular notification, but also gives the ability to utilize emoji functionality. Let's look at an example of implementing the decorator design pattern using C++ code. First, we will create a class named notification, inside of which we will use the public access modifier. We will create a virtual void function named send. After that, we will create a class named text notification that extends the notification class with a public access level. Inside of this class, we will use the public access modifier and implement the send function defined in the base class. Inside of here, we will output the string text message to the console using the standard output stream cout. Next, we will have a class named notification decorator that extends the notification class with public accessibility. We will have a protected notification pointer named notification. Then we will use the public access modifier. Let's add a constructor for this class that takes in one parameter, a pointer to a notification named n. Inside of the constructor, we will set notification equal to n. Then we will implement the send function, and inside of it we will call the base class's send function. After that, we will create a class named emoji decorator that extends the notification decorator class with public accessibility. Inside of this class, we will use the public access modifier. We will have a constructor that takes in a notification pointer n and calls the base class's constructor, passing in n. Then we will implement the send function. Inside of here, we will output a new line to the console. Then we will send the notification. After that, we will make a call to emoji, a function we will write now, and pass in notification. Our emoji function will take in a pointer to a notification named n. Inside of this function, we will output the string with emoji. Time to test our code. Let's go inside of C++'s main function and create a text notification named regular text message. Then we will have a variable of type emoji decorator named text message with emoji that we set equal to an emoji decorator object with a new text notification object passed in. Next, we will call regular text message.send and then text message with emoji.send. When we run the code, notice that the output is text message and then text message with emoji, meaning that our code worked. We can make use of the decorator pattern when we want to assign extra behaviors to code at runtime without breaking existing code, and when it is not possible or not convenient to extend an object's behavior using inheritance. Advantages of using the decorator design pattern are that we can extend an object's behavior without creating a new subclass. We can add or remove behaviors at runtime. We can combine multiple behaviors by wrapping an object with multiple decorators, and it follows the single responsibility principle. Disadvantages of this pattern are that it is hard to remove a specific wrapper from an object, and that the configuration of the code layers may make the code less readable. In this video, we will learn about the facade design pattern and how to implement it using C++ code. Facade is a structural design pattern that simplifies the access to a complex set of subsystems. A real-world example of a facade is when you call a telephone operator. The operator is your one simple point of contact to each of the store departments, which are the subsystems. Based on your request, the operator will contact the relevant store department for you. You don't need to know about the inner workings of each department. You just need to call the operator and tell them what you need. Now that we understand the concept of the facade, let's learn how to implement this design pattern using C++ code. We will start by creating a class named Subsystem1, inside of which we will utilize the public access modifier. Let's create a function with a void return type named Operation1, inside of which we will output a tab, then the string Subsystem1 Operation1, and then a new line to the console. After that, we will create a function with a void return type named Operation2, inside of which we will output a tab, then Subsystem1 Operation2, and then a new line to the console. Next, we will create a class named Subsystem2. Inside of this class, we will have the public access modifier and create a function with a void return type named Operation1, inside of which we output a tab, and then the string Subsystem2 Operation1 to the console, followed by a new line. After that, we will create a function with a void return type named Operation2, inside of which we will output a tab, then the string Subsystem2 Operation2, and then a new line to the console. Next, we will create the facade class. Inside of here, we will have a protected pointer to a Subsystem1 named Subsystem1, and a protected pointer to a Subsystem2 named Subsystem2. Then we will use the public keyword. Let's add a constructor for our facade that takes in two parameters, a pointer to a Subsystem1 object named S1, defaulted to a null pointer, and another pointer to a Subsystem2 object named S2, defaulted to a null pointer. Inside of the constructor, we will set Subsystem1 equal to S1 if it isn't null, else we will set it to a new Subsystem1 object. Then we will set Subsystem2 equal to S2 if it is not null, else we will set it to a new Subsystem2 object. Next, we will add a destructor for our facade that is responsible for deleting the Subsystem1 and Subsystem2 variables. Next, we will create a function with a void return type named Operation. Inside of this function, we will output the string facade tells subsystems to perform Operation 1, then a new line. After that, we will call Subsystem1's Operation 1 function, and then we will call Subsystem2's Operation 1 function. Then we will output the string facade tells subsystems to perform Operation 2, and then a new line to the console. Next, we will call Subsystem1's Operation 2 function, and then Subsystem2's Operation 2 function. After that, we will create a function with a void return type named client code that takes in one parameter, a pointer to a facade named facade. Inside of this function, we will call the facade's operation function. Time to test our code. Inside of C++'s main function, we will create a pointer to a Subsystem1 named Subsystem1 that we set to a new Subsystem1. After that, we will create a pointer to a Subsystem2 object named Subsystem2 that we set equal to a new Subsystem2. Next, we will create a pointer to a facade named Facade that we set to a new facade object with Subsystem1 passed in as the first argument and Subsystem2 passed in as the second argument. Then we will call the client code function and pass in Facade. Finally, we will delete Facade. When we run the code, notice that the facade is successful in instructing the subsystems to perform the operations that it instructs them to, meaning the code works. We can use the facade design pattern when we need a limited but straightforward interface to a complex set of subsystems, or when we want to structure a subsystem into layers. The advantage of using facade is that we can isolate our code from the complexity of a subsystem, and the disadvantage is that a facade can become a large, monolithic access point to all classes of a program.